Hi everyone, welcome back to week 10 of the 2013 NFL season, my favorite week. I always win a lot of money in this week. As a matter of fact, the most I ever won a couple years ago was $15,000 in week 10, and we're going to do the same thing. Here are the picks. The first game we're going to look at has Philadelphia going to Green Bay, where the Packers are 1.5-point favorites at home. Well, every year there's a team that bucks all the trends. This year it's Philadelphia. They can't win at home, but they're very good on the road. They're 4-1, I believe, or 3-1. Their only loss was against Denver. Nick Foles is definitely the best quarterback option for Philadelphia. You saw what he did last week with 7 touchdown passes against Oakland. You know, as a Minnesota Vikings fan, I want all the Packers fans to know what it's like to have a quarterback who can't throw more than 8 yards. And I love Seneca Wallace. He's got a big heart and everything, but he's just not an NFL caliber quarterback. You're going to see Philadelphia stacking 55 men in the box and to stop the run, and they can't pass very deep. And I think Philadelphia will score early and often, and Green Bay won't be able to catch up. So let's take Philadelphia plus 1.5. The second game has Jacksonville going to Tennessee, where the Titans are 12-point favorites at home. What can you say about a team that is dead last in the NFL in scoring and dead last in points allowed? That's Jacksonville. They've also lost their one good player. Justin Blockman's been suspended for the entire year. It used to be double-digit numbers were a no-no to bet on, but not anymore. Double-digit favorites are covering a lot more this year than any other year. I don't think there's as much parity in the league this year as there has been in the last. Jacksonville is about as bad of a team, at least right now, as I've seen in a long time. You know what? Let's lay the points. Take Tennessee minus 12. The third game has Houston going to Arizona, where the Cardinals are 2.5-point favorites at home. Last week, head coach Gary Kubiak for Houston had a stroke. And I'm kind of wondering what took you so long with the way your team has been playing. Odd thing about Houston is that they're number one defensively in terms of yards allowed, but they're number 27th in points allowed. I mean, what's up with that? That shows you how undisciplined they are. With that loss last week, they're probably out of the playoffs. Arizona is not. They're 4-4 and still in the hunt. They're 3-1 at home. And the 4 games that they lost was week 1 in St. Louis. That was a division game. They kept it really close. They've also lost to New Orleans, at New Orleans, at San Francisco, and their one loss at home was against Seattle. Really tough teams here. I like Arizona to win this game. 2.5 points is a small price to pay. So let's take Arizona minus 2.5. And the fourth game we're going to look at has Carolina going to San Francisco, where the Niners are 6-point favorites at home. You know, sometimes you just have to go with a hot team, and Carolina is really hot right now. They've won 4 straight. Okay, maybe they haven't been against the best competition, but they have outscored them 130-48 in those 4 games. They're number 2 defensively in points allowed, in yards allowed, and running yards allowed. Considering that San Francisco is number 1 in running the ball, this could play very well. This is a good matchup for what San Francisco has to offer offensively. I think this is going to be a really close game going down to the wire. 6 points is too much. I think San Francisco will win, but not by 6. So let's take Carolina plus 6. Here are my 4 over-unders for this week. The first game we'll look at is the Thursday night game as the Washington Redskins go to Minnesota to take on my Vikings, and that number is 50. Only Jacksonville has given up more points than these 2 teams, and both Washington and Minnesota can put points on the board, provided that Christian Ponder is the quarterback for Minnesota. Let's take over 50. The second game has Denver going to San Diego. That number is 58. What can you say about Denver? They're 8-0 over right now, and with new interim coach Peyton Manning at the helm, I think it's going to be all offense. So let's take over 58. And I'd like to say something about overs in general. They're coming in at 55.6%, but games involving the NFC versus the AFC are 31-11 and 1 over. That's a 73% clip. And if you take out the games that Kansas City's played, they played 3 unders, that's 79%. So there are 4 of those games on the docket this week, and I'm going to look at 2 of them. The first one is St. Louis at Indy. That number's 44. St. Louis has played 7 of their 9 games over. So with that in mind, let's take over the 44. And the Monday nighter has Miami going to Tampa Bay. That number's 41.5. 5 of Miami's 8 games have gone over, and Tampa Bay have played 4 of their last games over. So let's take over 41.5. Okay, I'm going to let my straight-up picks scroll to my side here, and we'll talk about games that you might want to pick if you're still alive in your suicide pool. Unfortunately, last week I picked Green Bay in my video, and that idiot Aaron Rodgers broke his left clavicle, and now I'm down to 1 pick in my suicide pool, but that's all you need to stay alive. So let's talk about games you might want to pick this week. Fortunately, Jacksonville comes off of their bye, and they're in Tennessee. This is probably a good spot to pick Tennessee, especially if you haven't used them yet and you're in one of those pools that you can't use the same team twice. Tennessee would be your go. The Giants are off their bye this week, and you saw how badly Oakland played last week. You might want to take the New York Giants. Seattle has been winning close ones, but they just keep winning, and Atlanta is really struggling. You might want to take the Seahawks. Denver, we talked about that one with Peyton Manning as the new as the interim coach. That's what I'm calling him anyways. I think the troops will rally for him, and they'll beat San Diego. New Orleans is always tough at home. Although Dallas is 7-2 against the spread this year, they should give them a run for the money. New Orleans is winning all of their games at home by something like 15 points or more. Consider them. And you also might want to take Indianapolis over St. Louis. That's going to be my pick in my suicide pool. I'm going with Indianapolis. Okay, so those are my picks for this week. Good luck to you. I hope you check out all my other videos. You know I do a ranking video every week, and please check out my website, geoknows.com. It's got a lot of good tools for you to help you make your picks. All right, for the Geo Knows YouTube channel, I am Geo. Let's take the man's money.